Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for April 22nd. So, Jerry has just popped in quickly to say hello. He wants to give you a bit of an awe moment because we are going to be reading today on Fox News and, sort of Rush Limbaugh and, his buddies. And just take a look at what kind of we can anticipate from both of those quarters, but really they're sign of the same quarter, going forward in the kind of weeks and months to come, as things continue to accelerate and escalate, and I guess it gets harder and harder to spin, right? So Jerry just wanted to pop in and say hello. He's annoyed because he doesn't get to spend as much time outside as he would like to, even though all of the snow is gone away. So he is just letting us know in no uncertain terms that he's not thrilled with the restrictions that have been placed on his life. And but he also doesn't like, sort of soggy ground, and the ground is still a little damp. So he's just not a happy boy right now. So that's what we know about that, Jerry? Okay, now go find Ellie. She's sitting on the window back there. And, go do something productive. But don't meow. Go on. Down you get. Good boy. Okay. So I want to take a look, as I said, we're going to start with Fox News. Just to see sort of what's going on there in terms of what they're talking about, what they're promoting, what they're not talking about, what they're not being really upfront about, and, kind of the energy surrounding that organization. So that's my question. Come on down. Sweater's doing funny things. Oh, and for those of you wondering, yeah, this sweater actually goes to knees. It goes to my knee. So it's almost like a sweater coat. It's very lightweight, very comfortable to wear. And it is another one of my favorites. And I always like this time of year, right? Because they get a lot more wear, right? Because once summer hits, you're not kind of wearing sweaters of any kind for the most part. Okay, Fox News. Okay, and it's really Fox Broadcasting or whatever it is, because I don't know why or how it thinks it can be a news channel, because that's just not right. So let's just go with, how about this? Tell me about that Fox TV channel. Tell me about what's going on over there. Here we go. Okay, so Fox current future, Fox current future, Fox current future. Okay. So this is kind of one of the things that they're really going to have to, going forward, they're going to actually have to try to figure out how they're going to make this work. Because they are sort of being held in place, if you will, by their own stories, right? They've told so many stories and they've convinced so many people that everything they say is right and accurate. And like I said, this situation in the United States is going to continue to accelerate. You've just kind of gone through and are at the tail end of a period where the numbers were really scary, but they really, for the most part, were coming out of New York State and New Jersey. So And if I've missed another state or area, I apologize, but it's been coming from that sort of area of the country. And some on the West Coast, but not as bad. And so, in the coming weeks, the rest of the country is going to start really, really facing some rather significant infection rates. And a lot of those people who live in those more rural areas, in those Republican states, they're avid viewers of Fox. And so at some point, there is going to be a butting of heads, if you will, in terms of what they are hearing versus what they are actually witnessing and seeing in their own cities. And this is the thing, right? When there is a crisis or a tragedy, there seems to me, and this is just energetically, but it seems to me that there is an increase in what people are watching in terms of local news, and even local news that is very supportive of the Republicans or the Trumps or the right wing, whatever. To some level and to some degrees, they have to kind of at least be sort of honest. Although make no mistake, some of those numbers coming out of those areas are like badly skewed, okay? But they're going to start recognizing that what they hear in one place is sort of not even close to what they're hearing in another place or reading in their newspapers or, whatever the situation is. So there's going to come a time where Fox is going to sort of have to start answering for some of, what they've been flooding the airways with. Now, the news portion feels as if it is going to very slowly continue to move forward with as much fact and truth as they can. It is the talking heads, okay? It is those people who get up there with their booming voices and they're yelling to the masses and they're telling everybody what is and what isn't truth and how they should think and how they should react. And they are part of that basic organization that Trump uses to get his base rattled and riled up, because that always serves Trump's purpose for a whole bunch of reasons. One, there's just that sort of, he attracts the kind of energy that really likes that sort of aggressive, in-your-face attitude and behavior. So when he gets them riled up, that's what you see more of, is that angry, in your face, don't tell me what to do, you can't quarantine me, you can't do this, I have rights. That always serves his political agenda and purposes. But it's going to be the Hannitys and the whoever else. I just, you know what, I don't even retain their names anymore because it is a waste of my brain and memory power, and frankly, I just choose not to. But you all know who I'm talking about, right? Those ones out there they're spinning themselves into such a ridiculously deep hole because they will literally not go against the Trump, way of thinking. And understand, to some degree, they are the very ones who were telling Trump what to think and feel and say. Because again, he's not all that clever, and he's a lot of the stuff you have to understand, Trump doesn't have a philosophy, okay? He really doesn't. And if he had been, God forbid, but if he had somehow or another managed to have become elected as a Democratic president, he would have been all for abortion, he would have been all for gay marriage, he would have been all for paying all kinds of people all kinds of money, because he doesn't have his own personal philosophy. He doesn't have a belief system. And so he just listens to the last voice or whoever is loudest in the room and whoever is complimenting him and telling him he's wonderful. So it's not like he actually believes this nonsense. He looks at everything through the lens of, how are you helping me win my next election? How are you helping me change the dialogue? How are you helping me promote a story or an idea that frankly just is more flattering to me? And oh, you're that person and you suggest I do this or say that? Okie dokie, let's just move ahead. So, so you know, they're kind of carrying a little bit of a burden, all right? And more, they have become, again, hyper-focused on their sponsors, hyper-focused on what the right wing wants to hear. And they do that because in some ways, I'm not so sure that Fox itself even has that staunch an agenda. I'm not saying they don't have one, but in some ways, they believe what the money tells them to believe because they're motivated by the money. And so the people, again, who are attracted to that station and their content, have certain beliefs and certain ideas. And so Fox is going to promote them. See, Fox at its base is just smut. It just wants to roll around kind of in the dirt and the muck, okay? It doesn't concern itself with integrity and truth or honesty. And so whatever pulls them the hardest, that's the direction they go in. Now, so you've got judgment sitting here and you've got death sitting here, so that isn't very helpful. And here you have that balance, okay? So for right now, they are trying to manipulate and balance. They're trying to keep things as even-keeled as they can. They have the sort of the real news people. Chris Wallace is one. Whose name just comes to mind quickly and easily, who is out there saying what needs to be said, okay? Even the people who are reporting from the White House are now spending a fair amount of time trying to kind of correct the things that they're hearing in those press rallies, okay? So there is this really kind of tenuous balance that Fox is trying to keep. But ultimately, there is going to be a real significant price they pay. Now, do I think that it's going to end them? No, I don't. Do I think that it may well, that they may well be able to shift themselves to something more palatable? Yes, I do. Because let's face it, these are the same people and the same organizations that have managed to stay kind of in business as long as they have, because to some degree they are flexible about what they are willing to go after or talk about or promote. So do I think that it's going to be the end of them? I do not. Do I think, however, that they're going to have a lot of questions to answer? Do I think that there may be investigations? Do I think that individuals may fall on some difficult times going forward? Yep, I think all of that. Some of those people who have really big mouths now and just love to talk, they really are going to be left out in the cold. You can see them sort of not being able to maintain the status or the standing that they are having during this period of time. It's kind of like their heyday, right? I mean, this is what is that expression, make haste while the sun shines? That's kind of what they're doing, right? Everything is lining up for them in a way that is really amplifying their worth, their value, and most horrifying of all, their thoughts and opinions. But it doesn't last. It doesn't last. And there will be prices that are going to be paid. Again, the network itself is going to go through some bumpy times, but they probably are going to be able to pull themselves out of it, restructure or remarket, and sort of head themselves down sort of another kind of road. But some of the talking heads are going to be in, I don't know, I want to say, not, there may be, you know, some investigations and that kind of thing, but mostly what I'm seeing is, because this is Pentacles, it's talking about a loss of status or revenue, money, position, that kind of stuff. So definitely some difficult times coming down the road for Fox. Yeah, at some point, there's going to be more and more information coming out. The reality is that under the real bright lights of transparency, under the bright lights of this is the fact, and you can have opinions, but you can't change the facts. And people start to realize that they really, really have been kept in the dark, up to and including when it absolutely was impacting not only their livelihood, but their health and their life. And that is going to create trouble for them. A lot of trouble, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry about, you know, keeping this thing together, how we keep it together, how we can move it forward, how we can protect ourselves when everything we said and did is recorded. And, you know, it's not like those recordings, if you will, of Hannity yakking his head off are like in some vault. They're in the airwaves, right? So it's not like they can, you know, try to pull off the Trump thing where they said, I never said that. Although a few of the on-air personalities have tried it and will continue to try it. It's not going to work so well for them. But again, there is always that percentage of people who do two things. They willingly, without question, hand over their power, and they willingly and without question can be fooled and choose not to do anything about either one of those patterns or behaviors. So there's always going to be people who, despite all evidence to the contrary, in 18 months from now, in 24 months from now, are still going to believe exactly what they believe today when it comes to Trump and when it comes to the virus and when it comes to what these personalities spew. Okay, and the thing, again, this is the thing, right? They deliver hate. They deliver aggression. And as long as there is an appetite for that in some circles and corners, they're always going to have some sort of a place, okay? And there are people who simply really want to and really want to stay in that aggressive, angry, victimization place. And they really want to believe that somebody who knows nothing about them, has not any way at all to relate to their life or life experiences, does not understand their lifestyle, you know, they want to believe that that person who knows absolutely not one thing about them is their savior. You're not going to be able to stop everybody, okay? It's just not going to happen. But there are going to be some investigations. There are going to be, you know, a price paid. There is going to be a balance. It may not be quite as fair or equitable as some see it, and it might be too harsh as others see it, but there is going to be a price to be paid. And unfortunately, the rhetoric, the right-wing attitudes are going to take a little while yet to really be slapped back into their cages. That's going to be, this is the thing. It took a long time. It took a lot of years. It took a lot of education to move people from a place where they at least became somewhat politically correct or more sensitive or more aware of the things that they thought and said and the words they used could be hurtful or harmful to others. But it doesn't take very long or very much to sort of break open the barricades that were holding it in check. So all of those people who were feeling as if they were put upon because people didn't want to hear their vile or prejudice or homophobic or et cetera language, Trump gave them permission, and so did Fox News and or the Fox whatever they are, because honestly they're not a news station. And so it's going to be a little bit hard to put that back in the box, if you will, but it'll come. It'll come. Part of the reason for that is going to be just, honestly, a bit of a more enlightened time frame that we are moving towards just as a civilization on the planet. And so as some of these older people with older attitudes, and frankly some of the younger people with their old attitudes, diminish in numbers, they are going to you're also going to see a lessening of some of those really outrageous emotions and reactions. Okay, so that is Fox. I really quickly want to take a look at Rush Limbaugh. And if there's information that comes out in a more general way about other right-wing agendas, that I'll let you know. So I just want to take a bit of a look at Rush Limbaugh. He was awarded that big medal at the last, I don't even remember what it was called, that, State of the Union speech. A big production, because again, the people who support Trump support Rush Limbaugh, and the people who applaud him and think he's wonderful would have been very, very happy to see that kind of a medal awarded. Now, for most other people, it was sort of a moment of horror. It was a moment of embarrassment. And it was a moment of, again, another moment where you just come to that reality that the things that you once thought your country stood for sort of have been a little damaged at the current time. So let's take a look at good old Rush Limbaugh and see what we might be able to discover or find out about what his forward road looks like. So, one more shuffle, and come on down, because I have a question about Limbaugh, and I want to know the answer. So here we go. Rush Limbaugh, current future. Rush Limbaugh, current future. Rush Limbaugh, current future. Let's just take a look-see. So this is part of what I'd like you all to remember. He has always had those really, really strong right-wing theories and conspiracy theories and ideas and attitudes. Okay, he's kind of like the T-Rex dinosaur of radio. I'm sure there's a few others out there that he pals around with, but again. But he made a conscious, willing choice. When the presidency started to go off the rails, he made a choice to abandon all of his sort of hardcore Republican ideas and attitudes and literally follow the Pied Piper right off the cliff. That was a willing, free will choice. He wasn't forced. He wasn't threatened. He wasn't anything. He thought that was the very, very best way for him to go forward because he wanted to financially secure his future. He wanted to shore up his assets, if you will. He wanted to be that guy who, associated with the heavies. Okay, like this is kind of the words and the attitude as I'm going into his energy. It is really. Oh my God, I was going to say 1950, but it's not. It's like 1930 or 40 with the mafia. Okay, it's that. He wants to be the tough guy. He wants to be the guy that people listen to and pay attention to. And so he made the choice, right, to not try to seek any sort of a balance between what he used to say he believed and what is currently going on. He just flipped to the other side, okay? And so there is a price that he is going to pay for that. I have to tell you, though, I feel as if that is a price that he is going to pay in a small amount in the here and now, but is most likely to pay insignificant amounts in other times and other dimensions. This is a man whose life review I would not like to have to see or witness. Because again, remember, the things that we look at when we're evaluating our lives and how we conducted them, when we are doing those reviews after we have gone on through the veil and to the other side into the light, the things that we look at when we are figuring out our next soul print and we are looking at karma. It is when you do harm or damage or give blessings to another that create karma. So, by extension, anybody who has managed to get a hold, for example, of that pill that's supposed to treat malaria, because the president is pumping it up, and I don't know, but I'm guessing he is too, and dies of a heart attack, or dies of complications from their body's reaction to that drug, he has their blood on his hands too, just like Trump does, just like McConnell does, just like. And so it feels very much like for him, let's be realistic, he's not well. His days are already numbered. And so there's not going to be almost like enough time for him to start to recognize or make amends. So a lot of the result of his choices are going to be experienced and dealt with in other ways. I'm not saying that he's not going to have a little bit of pushback and kickback, because he is, but for the most part, he is of that mindset where he's just really good with just moving forward with reckless abandon. He doesn't care anymore what he says. And this is a man who has a way with words, right? He is that person who can just open his mouth and talk and talk and talk and talk. And because of that, he has managed to maintain or acquire the following that he has. Now, am I saying he's going to escape unscathed? No, he's got the Tower card sitting here, and he has the Ten of Swords sitting here. So there's going to be a reckoning, but I just can't help but feel that that reckoning is going to come almost too late for him to actually make any significant amends. Okay, I don't see it. He's all about the money, the status, the position. He wants everybody to think he's fabulous. And if he has to defend the devil himself, he's going to do it, because he sees that as his golden ticket. And he actually sees the Trump presidency as something that brought him back into the spotlight. It created a bigger audience, or a more passionate audience. And so in some ways, he very much feels that in his personal life, Trump has been a godsend. And make no mistake, almost everybody that supports Trump, everybody who has fallen into line with Trump, has done it because it serves some purpose in their life. It is not because they have this great adoration and respect for the man. It's because all of them on various levels recognize he is the perfect tool. Alrighty then. So that's it for now. I hope you found that helpful, informative, maybe a little entertaining. Once again, if you're looking for a reading, my email information is in the box below. A private reading. My email information is in the box below, and that just send me an email, and then I will send out information and connect with you personally. Thank you so much for the support and your encouragement, your kind words, and the support you give each other. It's lovely. And so I thank you for all of that. Until next time, take care, be well, and I'll see you soon.